Hello, good evening. How are you doing today? I hope that you're doing well. So, today in biology, I wanted us to look at a topic that we call cell specialization. So, we need to understand that new cells are formed from already existing cells by cell division in an organism. So, at first, they are similar in structure, but in order to be suited for their functions, these cells have to undergo cell specialization. So, cell specialization is simply a process by which a cell undergoes specific changes in its structure as well as the chemical composition of the cytoplasm. This is in order to perform a specific function. So we have examples of specialized cells, and uh, among the examples we have the ciliated cells that are found in humans, and we also have the root hair cells that are found in plants. We have the xylem vessels, we have the guard cells, we have the nerve cells, we have the muscle cells, we have the white blood cells, and the red blood cells. So these are just examples of specialized cells that are specific in their action, okay, or that have undergone cell division in order to be suited for their functions. So now let's look at each one of these cells in detail and understand the features that they have to performing their function. So number one, I want us to look at a ciliated cell. All right, so this is the structure of our ciliated cell, and we are able to appreciate these hair-like cytoplasmic hairs on top. The structure on top, we call it the cilia, which is the structure which is responsible for sweeping out the mucus containing dust particles in the respiratory tract. And then we are also able to appreciate this structure, which is our cell membrane. We are also able to appreciate our cytoplasm, and we know inside our cytoplasm we have our mitochondria, which helps to provide energy for the movement of the cilia. And then we also have the nucleus, which is responsible for controlling all the cell activities. So now let's talk about the function of this ciliated cell. So the ciliated cell, first of all, we need to understand the location. It is found in the inner lining of the respiratory tract, and it is also found in the oviducts in females. So the function of this ciliated cell is it helps to sweep out mucus containing dust particles and germs. Another function of the ciliated cell, that is particularly in females in the oviduct, it helps to move the ovum, which is the egg, towards the uterus. And then the adaptations or the features that this cell has in order to perform its function. Number one, it has the presence of cytoplasmic hairs that we call the cilia. Okay, so this structure we are seeing on top, we call it the cilia, and we say this cilia is the one which helps to sweep out mucus containing dust particles and germs. And then number two, this ciliated cell has a high concentration of mitochondria in the cytoplasm to generate energy for the movement of the cilia. Having that said about the ciliated cell, I want us to move on to the next specialized cell. So the next specialized cell I want us to look at is the root hair cell. So the root hair cells are cells that are found near the tips of the root. We know to say the tips of the roots, we are dealing with plants here. So when we uproot our plant from the ground, we are going to discover that the tips of the root are having hair-like projections, which we call the root hairs. So what's the function of this root hair cell? Number one, it helps in the absorption of water and mineral salts. Apart from the absorption of water and mineral salts, another function of the root hair cell is it helps to anchor the plant in the ground. That is the function. Now, for it to perform all these functions, what are the adaptations or what are the features that the cell has to perform this function? Number one, it has an elongated outgrowth, which is simply known as a long extension, and this long extension helps to increase the surface area for faster diffusion during absorption. Apart from that, the root hair cells also have an absence of chloroplasts to create more room for absorption. So when we observe our structure of a root hair cell, we know to say this structure at the far end is the cell wall, which helps to protect the plant from bursting when excessive pressure of fluids builds up in the cell. The cell membrane, which is said to be selectively permeable, it controls what enters and leaves the cell. And then finally, inside here, we have the cytoplasm, and in the cytoplasm, in this same region, we are going to find our mitochondria. When we zoom our cell under an electron microscope, and we are saying the mitochondria is providing energy for active absorption. So that is another adaptation. We are saying it has a high concentration of mitochondria to provide energy for active transport of mineral salts. So in addition to this, the root hair cells are also numerous. When we say numerous, we mean they are many, which helps to further increase their surface area for the absorption of the water and mineral salts. So to go through the adaptations again, we said the root hair cells have an elongated outgrowth, number one. Number two, there is an absence of chloroplasts, and we know these chloroplasts, they contain chlorophyll, which traps light for photosynthesis. Because this root hair cell, when we observe, we are not seeing any structure of the chloroplast, we are going to discover to say there is going to be more room for absorption of water and mineral salts. Apart from that, we say there is a high concentration of mitochondria to provide energy for active absorption. I want us to now move on to another specialized cell, which is the xylem cell. So the function of the xylem cell is it helps to conduct water and mineral salts. When we say conduction of water and mineral salts, we are simply talking about transportation of water. So we have the root hair cells, which are absorbing water from the ground. Once the root hair cells absorbs the water from the ground, it has to be the function of the xylem cells to help to transport this water and mineral salts into different parts of the plant. Apart from that, the xylem cell also helps to provide mechanical support of the plant. Now, what adaptations, what features does the xylem cell have to performing its function? Number one, the end walls of neighboring cells are broken to form continuous tubes. So you can simply say these xylem cells have neighboring cells which are broken, and this helps to form continuous tubes. Apart from that, the protoplasm is absent, leaving a hollow space in the middle of the cell. And we know to say the structure which makes up the protoplasm, it is the cell wall, the nucleus, and the cell membrane. This makes up our protoplasm. And then apart from that, the walls are lignified or filled with lignin. So lignin is the one which helps to provide mechanical support. So it is a tough substance of the plant which helps to provide mechanical support. So to go through again, we said the end walls of the neighboring cells are broken to form continuous tubes. The protoplasm is absent, leaving a hollow space in the middle of the cell. The walls are lignified to provide mechanical support. And the function, we said the xylem cell helps in the transportation of water and mineral salts. So let's move on to another specialized cell. Another specialized cell that we can look at this particular time is the muscle cell. So the function of the muscle cell, it simply helps to contract and produce movement. So in that process of contracting, the muscle cells are helping to provide movement or locomotion. For you to move from one place to another, the muscle cells have to contract in order for that movement to be produced. Now, what are the adaptations that these muscle cells have to performing their function? Number one, we have an abundance of mitochondria to release energy for contraction. Now, we've been speaking a lot about the mitochondria. We know to say the mitochondria